Thanks for tuning in to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. Here you'll find tips, insight, and information to help your music and your ministry succeed. Whether you're a singer, a musician, or a songwriter, we want to help you where you are, but we also want to help you get to where you want to go. We believe that our talents are God's gift to us, but what we do with those are our gift back to God. Yesterday's information is important, but what we can learn today will make this the best day yet. Hey everybody, Rob Novell here. Welcome back to the CNS podcast, The Best Day Yet. Hey, we have another special CNS Vault Classic podcast today. And this is my dad, Dr. Charles Novell. This is, I believe, from around 1986 at the summer session. And Dad, this particular day, was doing a seminar on vocal development. A lot of good information in here from diaphragmatic support and different things that you can do with tonal placement. You're going to get a lot out of this if you are a vocalist. So let's head on into that session and see what we can learn.
Okay, this workshop is dealing with vocal development, vocal technique from a vocal development standpoint of developing our range, developing our breathing techniques, developing tone placement, all of the aspects of dealing with the voice. One of the main areas that I see in terms of vocal study and vocal development is in the area of being very expressive in your singing and not being just rather plain. The direct parallel would be someone that played the piano and played just the four parts from the sheet music or the hymn book. It's rather straight-laced and it doesn't communicate in terms of being alive. It's sort of dead. Well, we have that same kind of situation in our voices. There are things that we can do that will correct it. And in most cases, we are plagued with this and don't even know it. So what it might be a good idea for you to do would be to experiment with what I'm going to share with you today, just in case it would be a situation where you were plagued with the lack of expression and that deadness in the voice. The one problem in that area would be tone placement, actually placing the tone. Well, what do we talk about, or what do we mean when we talk about tone placement? The tone can be resonated and placed like in the throat, or it can be out front. If I talk back like this, I have a very backward type of a placement. Now, very few people, hardly anybody around here at the camp that I've heard talks like this. But the tone is placed back, you see.
Or you have those that are out front, just like this. And all of the resonation is outside the mouth. And there is no placement, no resonation within the mouth. The pitch did not change. My speaking voice did not change, but now I change the speaking voice. Now I can change the speaking voice, and I can talk down here. But I'm not talking about the pitch. I'm talking about that placement, out front or in the back. And the happy medium is what we want, somewhere in the middle, so that we don't have too much out front, we don't have too much back. Now we get that by opening the throat, and one method of singing is called the open throat method, in which we sing with a relaxed throat and we open it as if we were yawning. Would you just sort of yawn for me right now? And as you yawn, I would like for you to notice how wide the throat opens. So first of all, you're going to drop the jaw, and the tongue is going to go down on the floor of the mouth, and the throat is going to open up wide. Do that with me. Just yawn real good.
When you yawn, you first of all take in a gob of air, and then it comes out in the form of this yawn, and it's open. All right? But then we must have the brilliance in the tone. That brilliance is that ringing quality in the voice. And that ringing quality is the key to having beautiful quality in the voice. So we must develop that. How do we develop it? Through a mechanical sense and then through the ear. The mechanical sense is by knowing what it feels like and opening the throat and resonating the tone back here. Or bringing it out front and resonating the tone out front. Now what you have to do in a situation like that is grab yourself the nearest newspaper and start reading. And read it aloud and let yourself hear it. Read aloud and project that tone, place it right out front, and then read it and put it back in the throat. Let it go back in the throat area. Get used to the two extremes. And when you can recognize those two extremes in your voice, then somewhere in the middle there, let that tone be placed so that you begin to hear that frontal placement ring as well as the depth from coming from back in the throat area. The second thing is that we develop it by hearing. Listen to a number, not just one person, but a number of excellent vocalists. Because in listening to those vocalists and people in the style that you like, and as you listen, you will begin to subconsciously pick up some of the quality of their voice. You will begin to pick up some of the interpretive tools that they use to make a song come alive. So the listening part is very, very important. It would be most difficult for us to learn the French language if we were not able to listen. If we were not able to listen to somebody speak that language and make the sounds that the French language and those words have, it would be very difficult for us to know O-U-I in French. How is that said? You know, we'd OE or whatever, we would try to make it sound like English. But by hearing, we know what the correct way of doing. So if you listen to a number of people, you'll get a cross-reference of how your particular style, whether it be contemporary, or if it be Southern gospel, if it be country gospel, if it be classical sacred Christian music. If you listen to the music in that style, a vocalist in that style that you prefer, you'll begin to pick up some of those qualities. And one of the most excellent and best ways to learn is through imitation. Now you think how much we learn through copying and imitating. Just as a little fella, we imitate what we hear. We imitate before we can actually academically sit down and write what we are saying. So the learning process greatly depends on listening and imitating. Now, range development. What do we do in terms of developing our range? One of the big problems would, of course, be the upper range, because we have tendencies to become very zealous in our singing, and in our imitating, we imitate those people that are very gifted or who have already developed their voice, and we are in the developing stage. So we are imitating those people who are our idols, the people whom we respect very dearly, and they are performing as it should be, up to a standard that their circles would require them to perform in. So we end up straining and really struggling to get some of this out, simply because the range is not there. So what do? In the upper range, we have to get into the concept of diaphragmatic support, singing from the diaphragm. And the diaphragm is a muscle that separates the lungs from the abdomen. And this diaphragm muscle running through here is very, very, very important for our high notes. I'd like for you to sit up straight. I would like for you to push in like so. And I want you to say, hey, 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 go. Hey, 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 hey. You should feel an outward thrust. If you can't feel an outward thrust, you got a problem. I'm sorry. You got a problem. You might be getting ready to die. I don't know, but you got a problem. It might be that kind of a problem. But you should be feeling a hey, 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 hey. This outward pressure. This outward pressure is there, overemphasized when we say the hey, 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 ho, ho, ho kind of things. But it's there when we sing. When we need to attack a high note, then we must sing that from down here. If we do not, we're going to sing it from the throat area. What's going to happen when we sing it from the throat area? We're going to tighten up and we're going to strain. The quality is going to suffer. The straining, the added pressure on the vocal cords is going to cause vocal nodes, what we call vocal polyps. That's the little calluses that result on the vocal cords. So it's very important that we eliminate as much strain and stress on the vocal cords as possible. So what we do is we support from down here. Now here's the process. You were singing along, and to teach you how to sing from the diaphragm, I have to tie that in to breathing because it's locked in just like this. Well, I mean it's in there tight, and you really are not going to do either one successful without having a concept of the breathing and then the concept of the diaphragmatic support. So when we breathe in, let me lay a little foundation for the breathing, and then I'm going to come back to how to develop our range. When we breathe in, we fill up the lungs, and the lungs are sort of like a cylinder. They move up and down like so. The rib cage allows for some movement because the lower part of the rib cage we have like this floating ribs, and the rib cage can expand a little bit, and there is an expansion down low. The expansion is not up high because we got all kinds of skeleton structures up here that are very firm and rigid. Our collarbone comes in here, our shoulder bone comes in here, and then the upper part of the lung anyway is smaller than the lower part of the lung. So the expansion would normally be where it's larger, which is down in the lower part of the lung. Now when we fill up with air, the expansion happens. It's just like blowing into a balloon. When we blow into a balloon, it expands. When it expands, it gets larger. When we blow into a balloon, it doesn't just shrink. The air goes in, fills it up, and causes it to have enlargement. Well, imagine that your lungs are like a balloon. We breathe in, and that expansion happens. Okay? Put your hand on your tummy like so. Now, the reason that the tummy is going to move is because the lung, like a cylinder, is going down, and as it goes down, it displaces the organs that are down there and causes that expansion out. Okay, here we go. Breathe in. Let it out. The hand should go in when I say out. The air is coming out so that the hand goes in. Breathe in and let it out. Breathe in and we let it out. Okay. Now, another way of developing the proper breathing technique is to lie down and watch your tummy rise and fall as you breathe. Now it's better lying down simply because the other parts of our body will not move, and the guilty part of this thing is sucking in like this and expanding up here. And when we were lying down doing this, and if you want to put a book or a couple of books here, you can watch the tummy go up and down. You can watch that breathing apparatus. Now, knowing that when we breathe in, this becomes firm like so, where we firm up the abdominal muscle, and as it goes in, then, or as we sing, this goes in. This abdominal muscle controls the flow, and it goes in like so. As it goes in, that forces the air out over the vocal cords. And we sing on air going out of the vocal cords. As I'm speaking now, I'm speaking on air coming out and passing over the vocal cords. So this process of breathing in, this expansion, and then as I'm talking or as I'm singing, this comes in. It's like a circle. It keeps coming in. And then when I need another breath of air, I go, and then it goes back in. Now, when I go up to sing that high note, that's the problem. And it's coming up. I know it's coming up, and I'm getting nervous. Tension City. Anxiety is setting in. Here it comes. Am I going to reach it or am I not going to reach it? Kind of feeling. Have you ever had that to happen? Boy, I've had it to happen a million times. You know, so I almost don't even want to sing. You know. Now, but we are plagued with it. All right, when that note is coming up, what we want to do now is we want to make this muscle right here, we want to firm this muscle up. When you go up for that high note, firm up this abdominal muscle right here. The high note is like the hey, hey, hey pressure. That hey, hey, hey pressure coming out is there even in a greater sense when you are singing that high pitch. So we firm up the abdominal muscle and we counteract it. The best example of that I can imagine would be if I had a piece of wood and Ed, I wanted you to drive a nail in this wood and I give you the nail and the hammer and I give it to you, and every time you hit it, or you hit it and I don't even give you any resistance, you'd never get it in there. You'd never get the nail in there. But if I put that up there, all right, now I put that nail right there, okay, and we've got this support behind it. We're going to put that nail in that piece of wood. There's no doubt in our mind. All right, the same thing is true with our singing. If we support it and if we give it that support down here with the abdominal muscle, then those upper pitches are going to come alive. There's going to be a new era in our singing because those upper pitches are not going to scare us. We have got the support now from this abdominal muscle. So the way I look at it, and in all these books that I've read, people that I've studied with, it actually is singing from the abdominal muscle, but that doesn't sound too good. That doesn't have a ring. So we say sing from the diaphragm. You've probably heard that term a lot. You need to sing from the diaphragm. You're not singing from that. Why? They used to tell me that when I was in high school, Charles, you need to sing from the diaphragm. You're getting it all right here. And I said, and I thanked them and I appreciate it. And I'd say, well, I kept waiting. Well, they're going to tell me how. No, they never did tell me how. They kept telling me, and here I am. I'm getting nowhere.
How do you do that?
Yes, how do you do that? And so I finally ran into someone that shared with me how to do that. Boy, was that a breath of fresh air. It's exactly what I needed, and it made all the difference in the world in my confidence. I felt more confident. It would be like you're going to the piano and struggling through some runs and licks, and Mike coming over and saying, now let me show you how to get those muscles to work for you, and let me show you how to practice. And in 6 months, Bonnie, that cadenza passage won't be a problem because I'm going to show you how to use arm weight, I'm going to show you how to use finger weight, and I'm going to give you techniques as to how to play that thing. And then it's all in knowing how to do it. I watch these guys come out to my, see, I can't fix anything. Well, I take that back. Now, I lied. Now, I want to go to heaven, so you all have to forgive me. I can fix things. If I got tape and a coat hanger, I can fix anything. That's the extent of my fixing.
Me too.
Give me a piece of wire, I can fix, wire it up, buddy. Piece of Scotch tape, I'll tape it up. I'll get it fixed some way.
Gum.
But gum, yes. But I admire these people that come and have, and something breaks down and they fix it. But when I watch, while they've got all these tools that just eliminates, there's hardly any work at all because they've got the right tools and they got the know-how. If you know how to do it, it's so much easier. And then we say, boy, that guy is really talented. That girl has got so much talent, it just oozes in it. And it's not so much talent as it might be knowledge. Application of knowledge.
Right.
might just be talent. I don't know. I've been trying, Judy, to figure out what talent is all about. But if we know how to do something, it's so much easier. And most people don't do things and can't do things simply because they just don't know how to do things. Sometimes we think, well, I just was not born with a good voice, and I've said that many, many times. Well, I didn't wake up playing the piano either, Terry. I've heard people say, "Oh, I just can't sing." Bonnie, did you wake up one day playing the piano? No. We studied. The Bible says, "Study to show thyself approved." Personal improvement. And we can study voice, and we can develop our talents. That beautiful parable in the Bible about the talents would not be there if it didn't mean something. And it's a biblical concept to increase our efforts by getting involved, you see. So we can learn to have beautiful quality, and we can learn to interpret a song beautifully, and we can do everything that it takes to have a gorgeous voice, a ministering voice, from the standpoint of knowledge. If we know how to support that upper tone, then it's not going to be strained. It's not going to have a dead expression. That the voice is, amazing grace, how sweet. How many people are going to buy a ticket to go hear that kind of a voice? But if we have a voice that's alive, then we got something. I once saw a saying on the marquee. It said, "Make yourself necessary to someone," and that's what it's about. Developing our talents so that somebody else enjoys hearing, enjoys what we're doing. Then the doors will open for us. The doors will open in terms of contacts and bookings, and then the doors of being a blessing to people will open. The doors of all the ramifications of our singing will open because we have perfected and polished those skills, those vocal skills that need to be there. Okay, now, so we in our quartet singing, many times we have these high endings on the very end, and down here is what we want to do. We want to apply this into the singing and sing those high notes. Now, there's another concept, a third concept that ties in all of this in terms of the range development up. Not only must we breathe correctly, and not only must we be able to support the tone correctly, but we must be able to place the tone. I can do all of this and then place the tone in the throat, and I'm still going to lack the quality simply because right here in the throat I have the tone placed, and I have a strained sound in the throat because of the lack of getting the tone placed right. So we place it in what we call the mask of the face. That's right up here in the mask of the face. The Dristan era, in the wintertime Dristan commercials on television, they show the drawing, show all those cavities up in there. Well, what we try to do is we try to place the tone and resonate the tone up here in the mask of the face. Every style of music uses the mask of the face. Every style of music uses the breathing techniques that I'm telling you about today. Now, the mask of the face is this bone structure up here. And by singing with the mask of the face, we are using the organs, the vocal organs, we are using one more of this whole concept in the way that the Lord designed for it to be. And when we get the tone up here, it takes the strain off of it. In fact, you shouldn't even consider even having a throat. The vocal cords are, of course, right here. We know that. But all of our work should be down here and then placing it right up here. A lot of times we will say, imagine your eyebrows as being speakers and the tone is coming out up here. Steve yesterday was talking about lifting the eyebrows, making a facial expression with the eyebrows. And what that does is it's just a little thing to help us to remember to get that pitch placed up in here, right up in the mask of the face. And that gives it, of course, that ring. And the higher we go, then the more we want to place that tone out front. Get that tone right out here. Now, the lower we go, we can use the lower resonance of the throat area. Like if we had any bass singers here, one of the things that we would want to do would be to resonate the tone in the throat. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why you need to resonate it out here for the high pitches. The throat is lined with fleshy tissue that is it sort of like mellows the tone. It's non-reflective. The mouth has the enamel of the teeth, the hardest substance in the body. The enamel of your teeth, that is harder than any bone that you have. So it's very, very reflective. Now, if I wanted to get those laundrymen bringing our fresh linens in, if I wanted to get their attention, I wouldn't go, hey! I've already put a strain on the voice. But I would go, hey! Can you hear the difference in the brightness and in the mellowness of the two pitches? Hey! Put it over here! Right? It's that yelly kind of sound. Not yellow, but I'm yelling. Y-E-L-L-I-N-G, I-O-U-S-E-D-I-O-N. You know, yelling. Now, I placed it right up here to get the strain off of the throat. All right, I can see you don't believe me, so we need to demonstrate here. All right, say for me in the throat, right back here. I want you to say, hey. Don't say it too loud, but just say enough where you can feel it. Ready, go. Hey. Now, I want you to put it right up here, and we sometimes think of it as being, right now, just think of it as being nasal. Put it up in the mask of the face and project it right out here. Sing it right on the lips and say, hey. Hey. Go. Hey. Hey. All right. You should be able to feel the difference. I can hear the difference. I can hear the more treble quality versus the bass quality. All right, that tone being placed right out here, up in the mask of the face, takes the strain off the throat. Now, if you're doing a program and your voice is tired, but yet you've got to go on, there's no way of getting out of it, you've got to go on. You might have to then start singing with more of a frontal placement to take the strain off of the throat area. If we're somewhat down, of course the ideal thing is not to sing at all, because you need to take care of yourself. But if you've got to keep on going, or you've got to teach a Sunday school class, don't have anyone to cover, down in throat, then speak it out right out front. Get it out of the throat and speak it up out in here. You'll feel a little silly, and people are going to think you're silly. No, I don't think you're silly. I'm just teasing you. But you will feel self-conscious about it. But it will help you to get through that singing engagement or having to speak, like getting the tone off of the area down here where you're having your vocal problems, you see, right up in here. Now, the other area that I want to talk about is in correcting this deadpan expression in our voice. The lips play a very, very important role. And if we use, you see, our lips, of all of the vocal organs that it takes to produce tone and get it out, our lips are the last thing that we have to influence the tone. We can do all this other properly and correctly, and as it comes out, distort it. For example, if I talk like this, see, there's a change in the quality of the sound. Talk out loud, or I don't even use my lips at all and talk like this, you can hear a difference, you see. So the lips have, and I'm supporting from down here, and I'm lifting in and letting the air come out, but I'm distorting it with my lip. Now I can enhance the tone with my lips, or I can distort it. And of course what we want to do is to enhance the tone. And use your lips. Use your lower lip and your upper lip. we have a tendency to use more of the lower lip than the upper lip. We use the lower lip more because in the, let's say that the consonant sounds of F and V. Would you say F and V? Go. F, V. Did you notice what happened? Your front teeth came down and touched the lower lip. F, V. All right? The touching of the two causes your lower lip to become more active. The upper lip becomes inactive because you're not touching, and it just sort of is there. And our thinking is not centered to the upper lip as it is to the lower lip. So in watching a lot of you sing, it's easy to see the lower lip working, but the upper lip not working. So we need to get the lips alive. All right, the word church. Would you say that?
Church.
Church. Now I could say church, church, church. If I walked around talking church, you can see how deadpan my lips are and my whole face. It affects my eyebrows. I don't even want to lift my eyebrows when I talk like this. Trying to get people to sing with expression, and I haven't even got the mouth working right. If I can get the mouth working right, I can get some expression in it. You know, I can get some facial expression. Then I can come alive. I don't have to just stand here like this, and then today I'm going to talk about vocal technique. I hope this is a blessing to every one of y'all. No, we got to come alive. And and if I approach this whole thing in an exciting way, what's going to happen to you? You're going to get excited. But if I stand here and I'm very excited, June, I'm just so excited today about what is happening here. Everything is just dead. My whole body's dead. My lips are dead. My eyes are dead, you know. And I'm not going to communicate with anybody except people laugh at me and say, that silly guy. All right, the lips. When we get the lips alive, then I have a feeling that the rest of our face is going to come alive. And we will then start doing things from a presentation of the personality in our singing that will then affect the actual tone. Now, the church thing causes the lips. Church. The church, if we say the word church, it causes the upper lip as well as the lower lip to have sort of a little pucker on it. Church. What about the word praise? Say it. Praise. And right here at first, I think you have to overemphasize that. Overemphasize the formation of the lips. Praise. Church. What about the word judge? Say that. Judge. Okay, now these words, sheep, that S-H-C-H-J sound will get both lips working, get both lips into operation. And what we want to do is, as much as possible, sing or speak using the lips, let the lips work instead of just being deadpan. And because of it being a new concept, anything that's new, we have to over-exaggerate it to make it come alive, to make it to become a part of us. Because there's going to be that normal human tendency to eliminate about 95%. You know, if we could retain every bit of knowledge that we've ever been exposed to, well, we'd be knocked out. But we can't retain it. That's just normal. It's just the way it is. And so we lose it. So to keep from losing and retaining the most of what we're doing, we have to exaggerate, over-exaggerate, so that a part of that then will stay with us, and a part of that will be normal for us. So, the way that we use the lips on church and judge and sheep is the way that we want to use the lips in the rest of our singing. Then it will come alive because the lips will help it to come alive. It sort of gives it direction. See, it's like a megaphone effect. It directs the tone. In these speakers we have horns. Those horns in the speaker, they give direction to the pitch. It just doesn't just spread, but that horn gives it direction and shoots it out and places it out. In terms of the smile, see, we can have a smile and kind of a lip position, which is not good because it has a tendency to sing. We sing outside the mouth when we smile. It doesn't have space to resonate. Or the deadpan expression, where you just don't do much of anything, you know, it doesn't come alive. But when we do something, a little something with the lips, it causes the tone, it even will help our thinking to get above that pitch so that it's alive and not riding on the flat side. We're riding above it. But one of the things that we can do to develop the volume is that diaphragmatic exercise that I gave you last week over in choral technique. The hey, 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 and I'm just using the triad do, mi, so, mi, do, to get the thing into operation. You know, you could do hey, 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 hey. But the idea is to develop the diaphragm muscle. Here's the diaphragm muscle right here. It's at the base of the lungs, at the bottom of the rib cage, and it's a muscle that is the floor that the lungs sit on. And when we do this little hey, hey, hey exercise, we are developing this muscle. We're causing this muscle to go up and down right here. And this exercise will help your volume tremendously. Or if you have a person in the group that needs help, then you somehow or other going to have to motivate them. You're going to have to motivate them to do something with this little vocal exercise. Now, the vocal exercise that we do that's like this is pretty much to help the muscles that house the voice box. That helps the muscles around here. But the hey, 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 hey is an exercise that will work this diaphragm muscle. And when you get the diaphragm muscle strong, then you're going to have more volume. Now, you may not be as loud as someone else, but it will definitely increase your volume and help to get the power into your voice. And then singing is like everything else. It's a daily thing. You should sing some every day. You should know your limit as to how much you can sing in one day without wearing your voice down. And spaced interval practice is very important. What do I mean by that? At 1 o'clock, you go through your routine. At 2 o'clock, you go through your routine. At 3 o'clock, you go through the routine. At 4 o'clock, you go through the routine. Then you rest. And you come back at night, and about 8 o'clock, you go through the routine, and 9 o'clock, you go through the routine. Now, what's the routine? The routine would be breathing exercises, going through your vocal exercises, using the exercises for the voice box, as well as exercises for the diaphragm. Then breathing exercises, and then maybe singing excerpts from songs. Excerpts being problem areas in a song that maybe it's a breathing problem, and you have to go from this point to this point in one breath, and it's a real struggle. Isolate that and just practice that. And your routine could be from anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, and do it at intervals. It would be better to do it to spend an hour and a half at intervals than it would be to spend an hour and a half vocally altogether. Now, if we're practicing the trumpet or the piano or the guitar, now that's different. You know, we can practice the guitar for 8 hours a day, but vocally we can't do that 8 hours a day. And so we have to space it out. And our growth will, and our learning, the learning process, anything that you have to learn, if you will space it out and keep coming back to it, you'll find that it will be, your learning and your mastery of that skill. And that's what we're dealing with here, our vocal skills. The mastery of that skill will be enhanced tremendously by doing it at intervals. Our voice is not going to develop in just one little practice session. It's not going to develop in one practice session a day. I'm sorry. The more serious that you are about singing, you're going to put your whole heart into it, and your whole day is going to be centered around it.
Thanks for listening to the Charles Novell School of Music podcast, The Best Day Yet. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under the name the Charles Novell School of Music. And for more information on CNS and our upcoming events, like our online school, our weekend regional sessions, our creative coaching, and our pastor's retreat, you can visit us at our website at www.cnsmusic.com. As you've listened to this episode, we hope that you've gained some information that you can apply to your music and to your ministry to make today the best day yet.